This is the caster gear, the only technology capable of summoning powers at full scale. Today we're going to dive deep into everything related to weapons in real-life combat. It's crucial that before the Kickstarter battle, everyone knows exactly how this works. If you decide to acquire one in the future, or if you go to a recruitment center, well, this episode shall give you all the information you need about the caster gear. Welcome to Central Command. Before the commission was divided into invertebrates and us, scientists were developing different physical tools that allow the control of universal particle. As you can imagine, there were tons of applications. Tools for advanced medicine, agronomy, security, or even tools for first responding jobs like firefighters. Naturally, the military applications were at the top of the list of some of the former commissioners. They pushed heavily on the idea of developing a weapon that could control matter at command. And then, the Epon was born. When they realized the power that the Epon provides, a political issue raised dividing opinions into two great factions: those who wanted to give the technology to everyone to continue their research, and those who want to keep them from themselves. You already know them as the invertebrates. When the invertebrates decided to attack the recruitment center with everything cracked, they managed to keep all the resources, but we held the blueprints. That marked a starting point for this war. Now, it is funny if you think it. They have the resources to build as many Epons as they want, but they can't. They don't know how to. No one except us knows how to build Epons. We lack the resources to do so. That's why we need to launch on Kickstarter to give to the world a stake, while destroying the master plans of our enemies.
Today I have two special guests. General Lawson, that you know him from the previous chapter, and General Diego, the 21st century blacksmith that has led the development since the beginning of the caster gear. So, welcome back, General Lawson.
Hi,
Welcome back.
how are you? I'm glad to be here again.
A pleasure. And let me introduce you for the first time to General Diego.
Hi, nice to be here.
Well, let's dive in because we have a lot to cover. So, Diego, we know that since the beginning you have had problems developing this. It is not easy to create such a powerful weapon. I want to show them to the recruits from the inside how it works. So, how about if we just open an Epon so you can explain us the science behind the Epons?
Yeah, cool. Let's start from the inside. This is the blueprint to control and manipulate powers at full scale. This component right here will automatically gather white particles from the environment. Now consider the universe is full of them, but our phone doesn't have the capability to automatically extract them. The Epon does. Using the collector, it will gather white particles gradually while you are in combat and store them in the white particle condensator. Consider it has limited storage, so the collector will stop gathering when the condensator is full. You should pay attention to make sure you don't run out of them. If this happens, you will not be able to cast until the Epon recharges. You will always have your white particles indicator on the screen.
Okay, I see. Now, that was kind of complex, but let's dive in. So, you do not extract any of the universal particles, actually, because you are only taking the white ones. We know that white particles give energy to everything, but still, power archives are composed of universal particles. So how does this work? How do you take white particles and then make them into these power archives?
Well, once there are white particles on the condensator, each time you cast, you use the motion detection sensor to confirm the casting pattern is correct. If you do it right, the reactor will load the info of the power archive and wait for the throwing motion to occur. This action takes milliseconds, but that's how it works.
Okay, well, So the specific superpower you have in this loadout lives in the reactor, but if you cast it until when?
Well, once you successfully make the casting pattern of the power archive, the data to cast it will live inside the reactor, and it will be held there forever, or well, until you make the throwing motion to actually shoot it.
Cool. So that means I can cast with anticipation on any power archive, hold it until the perfect moment, and then shoot it, like enemies, allies, depending on the superpower. That's correct?
Yes, that's correct. You can cast with anticipation, but you can't cast any power archive you wish. You only have a maximum of 4 power archives during battle, and this is called your loadout.
Okay, so I get it, because like you have like limited storage, so only 4 powers can be at the same time. Got it. But why do you have a casting pattern? I mean, why isn't it not like efficient to push a button and that's it?
Well, yeah, it would be more efficient, but also more risky. So we thought that this system is the perfect mix of security and efficiency. If there was only a button and you misclicked it, you would bring a superpower to life, and that could be catastrophic, and you could be throwing stuff that you didn't want to throw or using powers that you didn't want to use. So by putting this extra layer of security, by using a movement pattern, we make sure that the person actually wants to do what they want to do. So it's like a confirmation method.
Yeah, I mean, I have seen noobs, new recruits coming and taking like a long time trying to cast, like left, right, or whatever the power archive.
First.
But also a lot of very talented and more experimented recruits. They take like a matter of milliseconds to do the perfect movement, and they don't even like notice. It's more like a muscle memory. But after you cast it, your summoned power is in the reactor. I get it. But how about throwing? And explain me how accuracy works, and also, why do you have so many buttons if you're not using them, like in all this Epon thing?
Yeah, the buttons are for navigating menus only. So you won't use them for casting. You will only use them when you have to navigate a menu. And if you want to shoot your power after successfully casting it, you will need to make this movement, like if you were throwing a ball. And as soon as your arm stops moving, 2 simultaneous things will happen. A specific number of fight particles will be transferred to the reactor, and the specific Q code structure information will be assigned.
Okay, so real quick, before you continue, just to understand, the accuracy is when I point to someone, enemy or ally, doesn't matter, with the tip of here, this will throw the actual superpower. But for being that, I'm going to point it to the camera. I actually need to make the movement like and freeze. And in the moment I freeze, the superpower will go, right? Will be thrown to either an ally or an enemy.
Yes, that's right. So once both are there, the system will create a perfect mix of energy and universal particles to summon the superpower, and then the Epon will shoot in the direction that you are pointing. Being accurate is just as important as your casting speed. So there's no point in having an excellent casting speed if you're incapable of hitting your target.
Yeah, makes sense.
Yeah, I would like to add an extra thing. One element that we're missing talking about. I'll make sure the camera gets it. It's the trigger. So this trigger is a safety button, because when you hold it, it will lock your Epon. And no matter if you move it or if you perform the throwing motion, it won't do anything. So it's like a way to put the Epon into safety mode.
Yeah, I mean, makes sense. You don't want to be throwing randomly superpowers to people when you're in battle.
Of course.
But if you cast something, then the superpower will be in the reactor ready to be launched. I get that. But if you haven't like cast anything, why would you want to press the safety button?
Well, the Epon has the capability to use the white particles it has been gathering from its surroundings to perform we call it a basic attack. So it's basically a ball of energy made out of white particles. So every time you do the throwing motion, even if you don't have anything stored in the reactor, it will cast a basic attack. So by using the safety trigger, we prevent you from even doing this attack. So
It's
yeah. So it's
exactly. The idea is like if I'm running without the trigger, even if I don't have a power archive already like in the reactor, I will be throwing like basic attacks randomly to everyone, or worse, casting something I don't want to cast. And well,
that's also true.
Back. Okay, makes all the sense. Well, I don't know, I have another question, maybe the last one. Why did you design it, Diego, as a kind of a one style and not anything else?
Well, after looking at the requirements and analyzing different designs, we believe it was the best option to start with.
But I mean, if I get you correctly, that means you can build more Epons and other kind of Epons then, right?
Yeah, of course, as long as we have the resources to do so. On the table, there are a ton of ideas, and each one with different mechanics. For example, the current Epon has the technology to easily shoot and hit a target in any meter range, and the closer you are, the easier it is to hit your target.
I see. So this specific Epon was built to use this kind of physical mechanics with some ranges and stuff. I mean, I have talented recruited that they have hit an enemy from 20 meters or something like that.
Yeah, I mean, the Epon has the ability to shoot to farther distances, but it's harder. So you need to be really, really talented to do it. That's because the superpower that comes out of your Epon will begin to reduce in size the farther it travels. So it begins in more or less the size of a soccer ball, so around 30 centimeters, one foot in diameter, or well, depending on the shape of the power archive. And the farther it goes, the smaller it gets. So when you go to a 20-meter range, it can be the size of a small marble. Now imagine hitting something that far with something that small. So that's where accuracy becomes crucial. So yeah, talented recruits may be able to hit targets farther than the 80-meter range that the Epon was designed to.
To make sure I did get that, so at the moment I launch, throw my superpower, it will be kind of a soccer ball, right? And as far as it goes, it will be reducing until, well, disappears. So naturally, if it's a really long distance, it's like really small target you need to hit. If it's an 8-meter, as Diego said, it's like a soccer ball, so it's really easy to hit. That's correct.
Yeah, that's correct.
But that's today's Epon, right? I mean, you designed this to make that. What about if we design something else? These mechanics will remain the same ones. It will change. How does this is going to work?
Yeah, well, as we said before, every Epon will have its own and unique mechanics. Some stuff of the current Epon, maybe we have like some technological limitants, but in the future, for example, the E-Glove, we believe the E-Glove will have a similar range, but the casting mechanics, instead of doing this, maybe you would be performing movements with your hand or with your fingers, or maybe we can do a bow that can shoot farther if we install an optical system to focus and maintain the size of the power archive coming out of it to extend the range. So the capabilities or the possibilities are endless as long as we have the resources to do it and to keep experimenting and researching.
I believe that is very exciting. Knowing that the tech you develop has the capability to transform into another Epons with different mechanics each one, and it sounds really cool having an eagle, of having a bow. I mean, the sky's the limit. We can have. I have seen in the lab some designs and some ideas of some of you people that are working at these designs. They seem really cool, but why do you need to build a set of different Epons? Why don't you just build right now the Epon, the bow, the staff, all those ideas you have out there?
Like also mentioned, there's a ton of designs and things we could do, but right now we're limited on resources, time, and money. So that's why we're working right now with the E-Wand, but the tech is there and it's possible to make different designs.
So once again, we face the same problem as we address at the beginning of this chapter. That is, we do have the tech, we do have the blueprints, the team, we have everything, but the invertebrates with the commission took the resources, so still makes sense going out into Kickstarter in a couple of weeks, because with the resources, we can give these Epons and later on new designs to the people. That it's really exciting. I think everyone that is watching this are thinking the same. That, well, the sky's the limit. But we already talked about how does this work from the inside, everything about the tech. I believe it's time to go outside and see some real life battles. So
Nice.
I've been recording some recruits from the past few days, weeks. This is our recordings, and how about if we see them and we comment? Can you help me to comment them? Like
Yeah,
over them?
it would be fun to comment and see how the recruits do with the Epon in their hands.
Pretty cool. Well, then let's go.
So as you can see, we are in a different place because this is a different time. What we did is that after the interview, I took several recruits to different places and gave them Epons for the first time and recorded everything. So also, and Diego, I'm gonna just play the video and help me comment and let's discuss about what is happening. And the first idea was to take them to an abandoned building. And well, we are here.
Yeah, I'll remember we want in the world to be your stage, and we develop our technology to be as versatile as possible, so you could be able to use it indoors and outdoors. So right now we're seeing the abandoned building where one of the tests was done, or one of the playthrough was done, and right now we're seeing what seems like a park, because you can also use your gear outdoor. Doesn't matter the time of the day, you can use it anywhere actually.
Yeah, the idea was as long as you have internet, you can play anywhere, and that's it. So we made this both local parts and abandoned building.
Nice.
Estamos haciendo unas pruebas increíbles, increíbles. De verdad, de verdad, de verdad. Tienen que ver todo
Yeah,
esto.
so you can see they were very excited to play. Right now, the first thing we make in a recruitment center when you first touch an Epon is the training mode, because usually people is not you need to get used to the mechanics of casting and everything, and what you're looking at
And to the
is
gear also.
naturally to the gear, the headset, the view you're watching at. And well, the first thing is that they will play versus an area until they get comfortable with the mechanics, they understand
Es la
how it
primera vez que
works.
uso una Epon, me sorprendió demasiado. Estoy contento con el resultado.
And well, he was very happy with the result. Cool. And well, you can see here. Now let's see, like from the first person view, how does this looks.
Yeah, so what we're seeing right here is the screen of the player. So this is what he sees through the headset, and we can see at the bottom there's a life bar, and there's also another bar that's how many particles he has. So this controls which power archives he can cast. And on the right side, he has the 4 power archives, and we can also see that in this exact moment he shot one of the power archives he has to the other
Now,
player.
Before I play it, really quick, what's the thing that you're watching? Like,
Yeah, I can explain that. That's one of the effects. This is psychedelic distortion, I believe, the power archive. And you can see on the bottom left, there's a circle. There you can see he has the mirror effect on it. So every time he receives an attack from another player, part of the damage is gonna go back. So this thing covers the entire screen as an indicator. You right now see it like you're seeing it on a screen, but when you're using the headset, it's like a very immersive experience. The field of view, it's pretty big.
and one thing I want to point is that right now you're looking the one that it's throwing the superpower, but naturally the other one will receive it automatically, and he will always see what you are looking at. Let's just see really quick how it's done. There you go. So Diego, please keep me explaining what else are we looking at?
You can see at the top right corner, there's like the casting pattern, and
Es genial, pues, tener toda esa capa de realidad enfrente de ti es algo nuevo.
yeah,
Cool.
as I was
Yeah, go
saying,
on.
you can see the casting pattern on the top right corner, and this indicates up to the player if he's casting correctly. If it's green, that means he's doing the pattern correctly, and if it doesn't turn green, he's doing it incorrectly. And it also indicates it's like a tooltip for the player. Naturally, when you start.
Yeah, I just pause it. Let's watch this interview of this guy that it's quite a fan.
Mi expectativa se cumple para este primer proceso. La batalla se siente y eso es lo que me encanta. De repente si estás así como pensando qué es lo que va a ocurrir, viendo todo lo que puede ocurrir enfrente de ti en la pantalla y la verdad es que es increíble. Me gustó.
That is exactly what also was explaining. Now we're at the local part. What's the difference between going into this claustrophobic place or here?
Yeah, we were seeing a place with a ton of obstacles. You see a lot of misses, and here you can see it's more open, and as long as you have the accuracy, you might be able to hit another player easier than right now in an indoor where obstacles are all over the way. So it all depends on maybe how you want to play the game. Remember, we don't make the rules. We want you, the recruits, to have fun with the gear and invent your
Pero no hay
own.
forma de verdad que puedan disfrutar una interacción tan increíble, tan fuerte, tan vívida, teniendo esos poderes que en un momento soñamos cuando éramos pequeños, como lo que ocurre aquí.
Well, pretty much that. We want you to feel like you felt when you were kids and just have fun and enjoy having superpowers.
Yeah, totally. We just saw how someone was killed or eliminated when you see this like kind of
A
box.
pesar de que aún es un alfa o un beta, ya está sorprendente. Entonces, espérense que esté terminado y esto va a ser un boom total.
Well, he's shocked, but you can see this box when someone is eliminated, and well, here's how you can see the casting pattern. When it turns green is that you're doing it correctly, and then you can throw it. And also you have naturally the score. Right now we can see it's 2-0, the red player, that it's the other one, not the one that it's launching, it's winning, that one.
And
yeah, go on.
no, and right now he was putting a shield. You can see all the different visuals there. We saw the visual of an elimination, and
yeah,
we want to make
it a 2-3.
Yeah, and we want to make the match as configurable as possible, so you can put a score limit or a time limit, or maybe how long does the player take to respawn after being eliminated. We want you to be able to configure all of these different settings, because we are just trying to create the tool for you to create any type of game mode you want to play.
Anyways, you got the visor on, and then I was telling Mark, if you could have it to where you look back and you see the radiation zone.
Yeah, let's go.
Closing in and being like, oh crap, I gotta, it might be hard to integrate that well with real life, but to see that radiation zone coming and like, oh no, if I don't keep moving, I'm going to start taking damage. I think that's going to create some crazy publicity, in the sense that if we were able to create, I was telling Mark, I think that should be the first, and you can still do it with superpowers. I think some people are going to want guns, but you can add that later. The bigger issue is just the fact that if you can create, people will start being like, oh, have you heard about Battle Royale in real life? Oh yeah, it's the game called, The Bone or whatever you want to call it. And that's what's going to kind of drive that, because the idea of being able to have, I think Mark said you can have up to 20 players, having 20 people in real life get together and say, you map out on Google Maps and you say, this is the island, or this is the area, and it creates that radiation zone. I think that's just gonna.
Yeah, but you see, you're now living proof of what I was talking about user-generated content being incorporated in the game, and that's exactly what it was, and it is exciting. And I just sat here listening to you and thinking that is a really cool idea about that radiation concept and escaping it and doing everything like that. And you're right. There's time limits on it. There's all sorts of things, and think of that on a global scale. Think of that connected up around the world, etc., and where you can take that. So that's a good idea, and that's what this game is designed to do, and that's what will be the experience. So there's not much else like it.
I remember that at the end, a game mode is just a set of rules, and the idea that these guys built was settings for you to put everything: time, score, teams, rules, everything they can do here. So before we go, I want to remember everyone should remember that this is still in pre-alpha, but we want to show you this because things are working. You guys developed this tech, it's working, it's out there, you can use it. Naturally, we're missing some calibrations, we need to change some art, we need to adjust everything to make the experience as immersive as possible, but we're there, and the only thing we need is to keep working and see your support, because everything is there, right?
Yeah, we see everything's working right now. Of course, it's in pre-alpha, but the next stage is having you more involved after the following Kickstarter campaign, and when your recruits are able to put your hands on some gears, I'm pretty sure only good things can happen.
Well, thank you very much, guys. This, I believe, right now recruits will know everything they need to know about Epons, real-life combats, and game modes, and how everything is working. So let's end this and see you next week.
¿Les gustaría ver trascender un eSport, un videojuego, como lo quieran nombrar, que se pueda hacer muchísimo de lo que hemos soñado por tantos años solamente jugando en una consola, llevarlo a la realidad? Confíen en esto.